And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you had you've had a great day so far. And you're now back, you're ready, you've got your pens and pads out, and you're ready to make some notes. I'm Ty, and I've got Lou here in with me, who's going to be taking us through today's session. How are you, Lou?
Right in yourself, Ty. You keeping well?
I'm well.
It's good to hear.
So what are we doing today?
Well, we're looking at sustainability of the environment, because we've all got to do it, I think.
Yeah, we will have to, otherwise we won't have an environment to be in.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
All right, so Lou, while you make your way across to the board, Mindsetters, you know the drill by now. You need to get on the page. You know the link, www.facebook.com/Learn Extra. Talk to me. Let me know what you guys think. If you're lost anywhere, if you need help, post on the page, because if you don't, we can't help you, because me and Lou, unfortunately, are not part of the X-Men, so we can't read your minds through the TV screen. So we need your guys' help to get on the page and chat to us. And if you have anything that you think would be cool that you'd like to add on, hey, go for it. But for now, we have a session to do, so Lou, take it away.
Thanks, Ty. Well, speak for yourself about the X-Men part.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had those skills.
Yeah.
But
Now, we're looking at sustainability of biodiversity. Now, before I start this section, you've got to understand that sustainability is very important, right? Because we need to fix things that we have destroyed. Because humans have destroyed it. I'm going to say it out straight. I'm part of them. We have destroyed it. So because we've destroyed it, we need to fix it. So this is what this section's about. And second of all, this is a section where you can do very well in your exams, right? Because you get all the marks. It's application questions. It's so easy. It's things that you know. Now we just have to put it together and do something about it. Okay, so let's give it a go. If we have a look at it, what is this sustainability, right? If you have a look at it, that is when we actually use resources so that we can survive, right? But we don't use so much that we cannot let our future generations actually use the stuff. Okay, so we need to go up into a point and no further. We need to learn to do that. We cannot be greedy, in other words, right? And if you look at nature, so all your animals and your plants and everything like that, they actually have it down to a T, right? Because they go and only use enough. They don't overuse it, because if they overuse it, they die, right? We're the only things that actually change that. Okay, so what I've done is I've put up a nice definition here for you guys. So I'm sure Ty's put it on the page. So there it is. It's nice and simple. I just put it into different words. Right, okay. So if we have a look at the next thing, okay. Why do we need to do this? Now, I sat down and thought about this quite nicely. And I got up some nice things. First of all, it's not just our planet. Okay, we do not own this planet. This planet belongs to everything. Every little animal, every plant, every bacteria, every fungi, every little thing on Earth, right? The Earth belongs to that. That's the first thing. So we need to protect it because we know best. Okay. Second of all, it's maintaining of life. Okay. Without this Earth, we cannot survive. So if we look after Earth, Earth looks after us. It's a give and take. Okay, so you always help each other out, always, which is the best thing possible. Okay, second of all, health. Now, if you look at ourselves, if you live in something like filth and rubbish and there's papers everywhere and there's feces and sewage and stuff like that, we start getting very sick, right? Because our bodies are actually very, very sensitive, and so is everything else. Some things will like for example, bacteria will go out of hand and we'll start dying. You will hear about things called what are those called? Dead spots in the sea. Now, we spoke about dead spots last week. Well, I spoke about it. So let me just refresh your memory about a dead spot. What actually happens is our farmers, let's use farmers. It's not all farmers, but the old farmers, when they used to put pesticides on their plants and things like that, they used to destroy certain things. The one we had a look at was DDT. Now, what DDT actually does, right? It stops mosquitoes. So what they do is they put DDT on top of the water so that the mosquitoes can't breed, right? The mosquitoes don't hatch so that we are all right. We don't get malaria and all of that. So what they do is they put it on top of the water. The fish start taking it in. So let's say the small little animals start taking it in, but they take very little. Then the next animal takes a little bit more, and the next animal that eats that takes a little bit more. And right at the end, you get the fish eagles that come along and grab this fish. And they eat lots of fish, and they get more DDT. So what happens? The birds start dying. Okay, so that is what we're talking about here. The birds start dying because it's unhealthy for them. Okay, so do you understand where I'm coming from? When we're talking about health, it's very important to look after our world because we need it. We need to stay big and strong and solid, right? The next thing, freedom. Now, you're going to think freedom. That is quite strange, right? Now, freedom in my eyes, I mean, this is the best way I can say it, is that every single day I get up, I go to work, or you get up and go to school, and your mom gets up and your dad gets up, and they all go to work, and it's a hustle and bustle, and let's get to the big world and do all this work and go crazy. And it's a lot of straining on your body, right? Because you're working very hard. And that is why you needed a holiday, because you were working so hard at school. I'm hoping, hey, Ta? You agree with me there? They're working so hard that they actually need a break.
You can have a break during December. For me personally, I'll just like to work through the whole process and just make sure that
some of them are not lacquer upstairs. Some people are not lacquer upstairs. I need a break, Ta. So what actually happens is that's why we have school holidays. Yes, you have to work, but it's a little bit easygoing. You can wake up a little bit later. But now, this freedom, just think about it. Staying at home and doing your work there, or going out to the beach, or going out into the wilderness, into the Kruger National Park. How nice is that? You feel free, you feel relaxed, you enjoy nature. Now that's what freedom actually is, right? It's you enjoy it, you relax, you can take everything in. Now, we need that freedom, because if we don't have that freedom, everything's just, you're gonna burn out, okay? So that's what I'm talking about for freedom. Okay, and then nextly, we've got the natural beauty. Have you ever just had a look? I'm sure you have. Have you ever just had a look at these beautiful landscapes? You know, you get those amazing pictures, Ta, where you see a mountain on top of a river, and it looks like it's a double mountain, and the ice caps. And
it looks so beautiful.
Exactly, that's beauty. That's what we need to look after, right? And the only way that we can get that beauty is if we look after our things first and take it from there, right? So we're looking at absolute beauty first. Next thing, preserving our planet for our future generations. Now, you might at the moment say, well, it's all about me. I need to do this, and I want to get this, and I want to be rich, and I want to look after as many animals as possible, or I want to look after trees and things like that, and it's all about you. Now, one day when you have your kids, you will notice that it's all about them, okay? They need everything. It's not about me anymore, it's about my children. Right? So I need to, as a person, need to look after my planet so that my generation can actually see what the planet is about. I mean, there's a beautiful ad, I don't know if you've seen it, Ta, a beautiful ad about a man sitting around a campfire. You know the olden days, the people who sit around campfires and talk about stories and animals and that. And this guy is trying to explain to the youngsters what an elephant looks like. Have you seen that ad?
Yes, and I was like, oh, that's quite a sad future that I really don't want to happen.
Exactly. But have you noticed how amazing that ad is? You can't explain it. You've seen an elephant. And even though he's explaining it, you can understand it's an elephant. But can you imagine those children that have never, ever seen an elephant before in their lives? It's like a dodo to us. Or a quagga. A quagga is a beautiful animal. I would have loved to have seen one of those. Okay? So that there is saving for our future generation. We need to do this. Okay? So that's us. As youngsters, we need to start doing this. Okay? So I don't think there's anything else there. That's it. Now, if I go on to the next thing, I've put some pictures, because I'm sure you know what I'm like already. It's all about pictures and beauty and things. So if we have a look at it, walking through a forest is just amazing. Okay? Next thing, have a look at your crab. You know your normal hermit crab that goes into that ocean? How beautiful is crabs? You know, just not that type of crabs, but crabs in general, the nice animals. Okay? I put a picture of this in for a reason. Have a look at that, a tick. Now, a tick on your dog, what do? We kill the tick. Kill the tick. We don't want the dog to have tick bite fever, or our cats or anything to have tick bite fever, so we kill it. Okay? Then you've got, I put it down here. I'm going to explain now the tick in a few seconds. We've got beautiful whale, right? We've got us as humans. And then you've got tigers and orangutans and chimpanzees, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's 2 orangutans and
Tigers.
A leopard, what's it called? Siberian tiger, that's the one, right? Those are all stunning. Those are the creatures we're looking after. Now remember, the first thing I said to you was, this is it's not just our planet, it's everybody's planet. Whether, if I pull this up again, whether we like them or not, it's their planet. We need them. Everything on Earth is a reason for it being here, and we need to look after it. Okay, like I've said before in one of my shows about a grey wolf. Take out a grey wolf, everything in that environment starts suffering because the grey wolf did a specific thing. Okay, that is what we're looking at. You take one thing out of that environment and a lot of things suffer. Lots and lots of things will suffer if we do not have a specific, or we take out a specific thing in an environment. Right, so we need to look after it, and these things are about beauty and about freedom and about love, and it's their planet as well. That is why I put it up there. That is why we got to do sustaining the environment or looking after your environment. Right. Then, if we go to the next thing, what are the problems? Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you some problems, and then we're going to have a look on how we can sort it out. Now, please understand, when I do this, this section is about more than just what we give you. Okay? There's a lot of other things that we can do to try and stop it. Okay, so I've just given you a few things here and there so that we can talk about and try and understand and get to the bottom of the problems. Right, so the first thing we're going to have a look at is fuel. Fuel and energy demands. Okay, the more people we have, everything that we're going to talk about today is about population or people. Okay, because we can do anything. You don't see a springbuck swimming in the ocean, do you? Or surfing. We do that. You don't see a springbuck coming from South America to Africa because he's had a nice long holiday. That's us. We can do that. We fly. We do everything. They can't, right? So our energy and fuel demands, the more people we get, the more we need. Always remember that. The more people there are, the more we need. Next one, the marine resources. We start depleting the resources, okay? So we're having a look at fish. Okay, we eat a lot of fish. We're eating a lot of fish. We need to have a look at that. Why? What is happening? What are the problems, and how are we going to solve it? Very, very important. Depletion of marine resources. The freshwater supplies. Let's think about it. Our drinking water. There's even an ad on TV that says there, if I can remember it right, it says World War I happened, World War II happened. It was about space, about I want to take over that country, or I want to take over that country. But next war, they reckon, is going to be over fresh water, our drinking water, the stuff that comes out of our taps that we take for granted and just mess. I mean, filling up a cup and just throwing it out. It doesn't work like that. We need to look after our specific things. Right. Waste. Waste. And I'm talking about excretion. I'm talking about waste products as in like nuclear waste and all this other rubbish that we just throw away, right? We just throw things away. We need to learn not to do that. Okay, land use. Now, our land use, how do we use land? That is the main problem. How do we use it? We need to learn how to use land properly. It's not about, oh, there's a beautiful plot of land, let's just go stay there, cut down all the trees, and let's go stay there. It's not about that. You've got to think about other things. What is there that we are going to destroy? Okay? This is how you need to start thinking. This is how they're going to ask you questions. Look at this piece of land. What are we going to do? This person wants to move in. How do we stop them? Why should he not move in? What is the positives? What is the negatives? And you must make sure that the negatives are always more than the positives. Because positives is just, well, I'm there and I can farm. Negative is how many animals or lives are you going to destroy by staying there? Okay? And that's the one for there. Now, if we have a look at it, if I go through it, there we go. What are the problems? These things here are, if we have a look at it, I've just mentioned fuel. Remember I said fuel. Now, we're going to start taking a problem, and we're going to explain the whole thing and what the fuel is. For example, fuel was the first one. The first one we're going to have a look at is wood. Now, you're going to say wood, okay? Think about it very carefully. What is charcoal? It's wood that has been burnt that we can make fire with, okay? First of all, there's that. Next thing, you've got this whole new lounge suite. Where does that wood come from? What happens to your old lounge suite? Throw it away. What do? We burn it. That's it. So now we're using more and more wood. Where's that wood coming from? We need to cut down a tree, okay? Don't just look at this. You need to look at what happened or where did it come from. That's the main thing, okay? So wood, we need more wood, more people, more wood. That is the problem, okay? Next one, we have coal. Now, remember I said to you charcoal, okay? That is not coal, okay? Coal is like a fossil fuel, okay? So we have coal, first of all, And that other stuff, you normally find the coal and oil. Remember oil? I'm sure petroleum and crude oil. You find oil and coal together because it's just different types of thing. You get the gas, you get the oil, and then you get your coal. So it's solid, liquid, and gas. The gas that we're talking about is your LPGs. Now, that is your easy gas. You know that stuff that we have on to have your gas fires, right? Your gas fires and your, what is that thing called? Your gas heaters, and you cook it normally. Do you know what it is? Well, you normally make it on that big, it's a big pipe and it's black on the top, and you make eggs and bacon on a Sunday morning, and that's a scuttle. That's the word. Okay, so it's just, have you never heard of a scuttle?
Idea what a
scuttle is gorgeous, right? We have stunning stuff on a scuttle. Now, a scuttle uses LPG gas, which is liquid petroleum gas. Okay. Now remember, in science, because these scientists, all you people that do science, wow, amazing. They are all your liquids, right? There's your liquid. Where's it? Your oil. You get your solid, which is your coal, and you get your gas, which is your LPG gas, right? Those are the three things, right? And then you must understand that the more people we have, the more we need the resources. So the more resources we grab, which means the more people we have, the more we deplenish the resources. And the more we deplenish the resources, the more we actually go through, pollution. Okay? Pollution is the end part of this whole situation. And if you have a look, population grows, they need more energy in the form of electricity and fuels and that, which means that there's an increased demand in pollution, right? And if you increase the demand, it means a decrease in resources or the fossil fuels and all of that. Okay, so I know that was a bit hectic to handle. Think about it. It's nice and easy. The more people, the more we're going to use. If you have a big 5 kilogram of sugar a month, and there's 2 of you in there, and we start using 4 people come in every day, what's going to happen? Sugar's going to go faster. Okay, so while we're talking about sugar, we can go have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Ta, what do you think?
I think that sounds like an awesome idea. So mindsetters, yes, go do what you have to do, but don't wander too far, because we'll be back right after this break. Welcome back, mindsetters. Hope you had a nice little break there. You're back, you're ready, you have your pens and pads, and you're going to make some notes. It's so important. Make sure you have your phone with you so you can also just send in those messages if you have a question, if you're lost, or if you need help. And yes, mindsetters, tell your friends to tell their friends to get on the page. We're so close, we're almost at 21,000 mindsetters, so please don't forget to do that. But for now, we have a session to do, so please pay attention. So Lou, take it away.
Thanks, Ta. Now, before we went on break and had a cup of coffee, I'm sure that you could make a cup of coffee in that space of time, but we had a look at this fuel. See, now I've moved the thing. We have a look at fuel and energy demands, right? So now that we've had a look at fuel and energy demands, just to let you know what these things actually are. So let's have a look. Of course, you know me and pictures, because I've always loved pictures. So we've got on the board there, we've got your oil, which is like spewing all over the place, and have a look, it's in water, so not very good. Okay. Second of all, we've got coal, right? The big things of coal. Those are the stuff that they normally put in those coal, you know, those old coal trains, right? And at your school, if your school's got a boiler, right? If you want to get your heaters, you've got those water heaters or oil heaters in your classroom. That is what they use to keep it, to keep everything going, right? And then the last thing, the second last picture I have there is your lines, right? All your electricity and all of that running down the lines. And of course, we're burning coal for energy and for electricity and things like that. Okay? And in actual fact, this one is biochemistry. So what are those called? Your nuclear energy sites where they actually burn things, right? So it's actually water coming out there and not bad smoke, right? Just so that you could understand what's going on. Now, what can we do? How can we solve this? Now, it's very, very easy. You won't believe it. It's very easy. We've got a couple of things. For example, you've got your solar power. Let me get my pen going here. Okay, you get your solar power. Now, do you know what solar power is? Okay, I'm sure you've seen it. Sometimes you're driving down the road and you see these big geysers outside. It's this big geyser with this funny panel on it, right? Have you seen that before? Okay, that there is a solar power thing. Now, what that does is it takes the sun's energy and it converts it into electricity. So they run their geysers and they run a lot of things. Now, I'm trying to think of what movie it was. It was one in a big movie right? Well, they used all their energy from the sun, and they could make energy and destroy things, right? Very, very big. It's very nice. It's a stunning thing, and we can use it in your own home. I went to the Kruger Park with one of my friends, and their house, they've got no electricity whatsoever, no plug point. So what they've done is they've taken a solar panel, they've put it outside, and that solar panel takes that energy, it gives it to a battery, a normal car battery, and from there you can run anything. Your hair dryers, your everything that you need can be run from there. How cool is that? Okay, because that thing runs a transformer, and you can use everything. That was unbelievably and brilliant. And it lasts the whole day. It was perfect. So I have nothing. That's actually very, very good. Now, the next ones I want to show you, these are quite cool. Okay, you've got your wind power. Now, your wind power is like having a big fan. You know those windmills in old days? You would see the windmill turning, and it pumps water up. Now, it's a similar type of thing. The only difference is the windmill, the hydroelectric, the nuclear power, those all work in a similar way. Okay, what actually happens is with a windmill, the wind turns, and as it's turning, it creates a shaft to turn on the inside, and that shaft creates a big copper ball to go and spin inside these big magnets that are around it. And because it's spinning around inside the magnet, it changes your electrons, if you look at science, to move, which means you've got energy, or we've got electricity. So just think about it again. That creates a transformer, so it actually moves and makes electricity move. So from wind power, we've got hydroelectric power. Do you know what hydroelectric power is? Hydro means what? Do you know, Ta?
Water.
Water, very nice. So hydroelectric power is water. That is wind, that is water. The next one is nuclear power. Now, nuclear power is also quite cool. They have this type of chemical that is unstable, which means it likes to change, right? And while it's changing, it gives off energy. So what they actually do is they take this and they make this change. And as this energy is, as this chemical is changing, they boil water. That energy that comes off, they start boiling water. And if they boil water, what does it do? It makes a turbine. That's a big thing. Makes a turbine move. And as a turbine's moving, what do we create? Energy. So energy goes into electricity. Very nice. So all three of these work in the exact same way. The water flows through, make a propeller move. If the propeller's moving, what happens? We're turning a turbine. The turbine creates electricity. That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Okay, so we've got the wind, the hydroelectric, and the nuclear. So let's do this. The wind, the hydroelectric power, and the nuclear power. The last one that we're having a look at is biofuel. Now, biofuel is very cool. Now, what I'm going to do here is, before I tell you about the biofuel, I'm actually going to show you some pictures so you can know what I'm talking about. Okay, first of all, there's the wind. Okay, biofuel we're going to come back to, don't forget. There's the wind, you can see them. Okay, there's the windmills and all of that. Now, the windmills, there's a big place in, it's in Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. Scotland, yeah, it's in Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. Please don't mark me right on this. But in Scotland, they have these big things because they've got nice big winds there. And they can turn these big windmills, which creates electricity. We've actually got one in Cape Town. Okay, in Cape Town, in Darlington, if I'm not mistaken. Darlington, they've got a nice one. We don't have that much wind. Yes, we have some wind, but we don't have that much wind. So we can't do the whole of Cape Town, but we can do a small little area around there. Okay, so in Darlington, we've got one in South Africa, and it's working quite nicely. Okay, then we've got this picture. It means it's hazardous. It's nuclear things. Okay, which always worry about that. It's a big problem. Okay, let's carry on down. Now look on that over here. Hopefully you can see it. Maybe not. I'm gonna change it just in case. Pink, right? There it is. There's a solar. That's even worse, I think. Let's choose another one. Green. Okay, is green all right? Hopefully, no. Pink's better. I'm gonna stay with pink. Now there it is. There's your solar panels. There's your solar panels. Can you see the solar panels on top of the roof? Here's another one. Okay, these solar panels. Okay, they grab all the sun's energy and they change it into electricity. Okay, that's cool, right? Next one I have, a nice picture again. There we go. Look at the big dams. Okay, and if you can see that all this water over here is rushing out. All the water's rushing out. Now what happens is, as the water's coming from the dam into the small little river over here, as it's rushing through the wall through the wall over there. It's going past these big things and it starts turning them. And as it's turning them, they're making electricity. Now that's free electricity. Well, not free, well, it's free, but they've got to have manpower to run it. But do you get what I'm trying to say? It's nice. We don't have to burn anything. We don't have to do anything terrible to actually make electricity. It's there. It's right there. The problem is we've got to learn how to handle it and how to make more of it. Right, so it's that one. And then, of course, as I was saying, biofuel. Now, that's cool. Now, have a look at that picture. I chose that one for a reason. We're trying to run cars, okay? There it is. Now, you can see it's got the corn and all of that, and he's putting it into his petrol tank. Now, please don't do this with your dad, because he is going to be very cross. Trust
Extremely
me.
furious.
It's very bad. Don't do that.
If you want to hiding on the spot, do that.
You have no idea, but it's going to burn, right? Now, this stuff, it's quite cool. What we're actually doing is we're taking this and we're doing distillation, right? Science boys, you must, and girls, you got to know what's going on. This here, to me, they actually put into a distillation chamber to make ethanol, right? Now, ethanol, can you remember ethanol is quite flammable? So they make ethanol, this liquid, right? Ethanol. So it's like an alcohol. And they make it so that you can put it into your car. Now it combusts because you know what an engine does, right? They put this piston in a nice little chamber and they throw like petrol in there and then they light it. They put a spark, and as that spark goes, what happens? It explodes and it pushes this thing down, this whole cylinder down. Now that's what happens. So what happens is you get the small chamber, you throw a little bit of ethanol in there and it explodes and it pushes us down, and as it goes down, another one comes up and it creates something that turns, right? And then your motor turns, it turns the wheels. Now, this thing here, it's the same as petrol. The only thing is it doesn't do it as well. Okay, so we as humans, we are trying to make it that you can actually use that so that the engines turn quite nicely. It can't go as fast, but they're improving it. Trust me, there's one that actually goes quite nicely. I just don't know where it comes from. But I know there is a car that they've made that actually runs on biofuel alone, and it's perfect. Okay, it drives very nicely. Very, very expensive though. But we can do this. We can run all the cars in the world on this, but you're going to have to change your engine because the engines are completely different. Okay, but that is biofuel. Very nice. Now, I've just given you all the different fuels, and we did not use a thing called fossil fuels. Remember fossil fuels? Your petrol, your gas, and your coals. We didn't use any of that to make any of the electricity or make your car move, which is cool, right? Then, if I have a look at it, there. No, I went a little bit too far, I think. There we go. That one's next one. Depletion of marine resources. Okay, so now I've done the whole first piece. Marine resources. Now, to me, this is very sad to me because I love the ocean, right? I really do love the ocean. And the first thing we're doing is we're overfishing. So we all love fish. So we're killing all the fish by grabbing them out of the ocean and then bringing them ashore. And the worst part about it is sometimes they've caught the wrong fish and the fish are too small. So, like, I heard stats about 40% of the fish that they catch that they don't like and they throw back into the sea are actually dead. Okay, which is not nice, which is even worse, right? So they're overfishing, they're catching too many fish. Not enough is left in the ocean, right? So too many fish, they're whaling again, right? Which means they're killing all our big, beautiful whales, right? Now, a big, beautiful whale takes a long time to breed, okay? So that's not a good thing. Next thing, the coral reefs are dying, because they are more sensitive than you can imagine. If your dad has a marine fish tank, you'll notice that one little problem and that coral dies very, very quickly. And it's very expensive. And these things are not very hardy. They die easily. So just by doing a little bit of pollution, we start destroying our coral reefs, right? So we need to stop that. Next thing, pollution. Pollution's a big thing in this section, right? If you go through pollution, if you start polluting the water and the marine, you're going to get your dead spots. Now, the dead spot, as I was saying, you start putting these, I forgot about explaining to you what a dead spot is, right? So if I have a look at a dead spot, we put these fertilizers, right, in the ground. The fertilizers run off into the rivers, right? The rivers fertilize all the plant material so well that they grow out of control. And when they grow out of control, they start fighting for space, which means something's going to die. And if something dies, then you get bacteria. And that bacteria starts taking out all the oxygen in the water because it's busy getting rid of this dead material. And if it takes out the oxygen in the water, what happens to these plants? They start dying. So they start dying, which means more bacteria. And as soon as there's less oxygen in the water, what happens? The fish start dying. So if the fish start dying, it becomes a dead spot. It means nothing can live there. There's no oxygen in the water. That's what a dead spot is. And that comes from pollution as well. Remember, pollution is sewage, anything that can, the bacteria is going to start breaking down and taking out all the oxygen in the water, which is not very nice. Right? The only thing that actually can live in a dead spot in the sea, because there is a couple, is a shark, believe it or not, which is quite nice. Did you know that, Tar?
I actually didn't know.
No, it saves oxygen in its muscles. That is so cool. I love sharks.
But I don't think it'll be able to live there, but it can actually.
It goes through it for about a couple of hours and comes out and then comes back in. It lives there all the time, which is amazing. I couldn't believe it. Well, otherwise, Discovery is killing me. I love Discovery. Right. Dumping of wastes. That's our biggest thing. Dumping of waste. Just throwing our rubbish away. Right? Just letting it go is so bad. We need to do something about that. And I already know. You already know what to do about that. You can't tell me you don't. And then changing the migration patterns. Same as I was saying about sharks, right? They used to go to a specific area to go and breed. What humans did, they saw them there. They started killing them for their fins and all of that and their teeth and trophies. So now they stopped going there. They don't breed there anymore, which is bad. They started they were saying on Discovery for the first time in years, they've started seeing the sharks going back there now again, because they knew that that place is where humans kill us. We're not going to go back there. It's very dangerous, right? They're smart animals, right? Animals are very smart. Now, if I have a look at it, me and my pictures, you should know it. That's very sad, whaling. You can see them picking up the whale into the boat, and they're going to use the fat and the blubber and all of that. Very, very hard sort to watch. The next thing I've got here is overfishing. Just have a look how much fish is in that boat. Hey? That is horrible. What are they going to do with all that fish? They make a lot of money. It's all about money. That's what humans want. It's money and money and money. We need to keep the stuff from dying out. It's very important to keep it. The next thing I brought in here, have a look at that. How nice is that thing, hey? That is an oil spill. Now, an oil spill is very bad. It covers the earth. It covers this whole area. The plants die. What happens when the plants die? You get bacteria, takes out the oxygen in the water, and we get a dead spot. See how it's all coming together? Not only that, it starts going all over the animals. And if it goes all over the animals, it starts killing the animals. Right? The animals can't breed. They can't hunt. They can't move. It's not nice for them. They use too much energy. Very, very, very bad. Very bad. This is one of the worst things. Okay, an oil spill, and we just let it happen all the time. We need to figure out a way to stop it. Right, so before I carry on there, what I'm going to do is, I think you need another break, because I'm getting very thirsty. I think that's the best way to look at it.
Yes. I'm actually pretty thirsty as well, so we need to take care of our own internal biodiversity.
Exactly, that's the way to do it. Nice way of thinking.
Exactly. Mindset is, so do not disappear. Stay on the channel. Don't wander too far, because we'll be right back after this. And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you had a nice little break there. Yeah, we had quite the interesting chat just now. But yes, Mindsetters, if you want an interesting chat too, just get your comments onto the Facebook page and post. It's so important. So Mindsetters, don't forget to use the page and chat to each other. If you see a mindsetter in trouble, help them out. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell another friend that, hey, we're trying to get to 21,000, so keep on keeping on. No, that's not. But anyway, moving right along. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Tom. Now, we finished off with this oil all over the ocean. Now, first thing we need to do is, let's have a look at the most common problem. I mean, this happens, but not as often, right? So let's have a look at the first thing that I was talking about, okay? It's overfishing. Overfishing is the first thing. Now, I've got a big thing there. It's quota fishing. Now, quota fishing is very important, because they say in this area, you're only allowed to catch 10,000 fish, okay? Or this boat is only allowed to catch 5,000 fish, which means if they have quotas in there, it means anybody that goes over that amount can get fined, right? So people don't want to do that. They don't want to lose money by trying to make money, if you get what I'm trying to say. They're going to make 100,000 Rand, but we've got quota fishing and we've caught too many fish, we lose 90,000 of it. Then what is the point, right? So quota fishing is quite cool. Okay, the next one, it's quite simple. Stop whaling. Okay, you need to stop getting rid of those beautiful creatures. Okay, they're big, they're beautiful. I mean, just think about it. We go to Cape Town to actually have a look how these big whales are moving, right? And in the babies coming next to them in Hermanus, if I'm not mistaken, that's where it is. Hey? Hermanus, you always see the whale watching. It's beautiful. They're graceful animals. And then, of course, create marine resources. Now, a marine resource, we've actually got it in Cape Town. Okay, Cape Town is a marine resource. We look after the animals there. We don't let ships go to certain points. We look after the place so we don't destroy them. Ships are one of the big reasons that animals die. I mean, they get cut from the propellers. It's a big thing. These big fishing trawlers. Now, what I did is when I saw this, I had to share it with you guys because people have been dumped so many times. Remember, you got a boyfriend, you got a girlfriend, and they get dumped. And what is a famous saying? I know I've used it so many times, right? There's two guys sitting. The one says, so you've been dumped. Don't stress. There's plenty of fish in the sea. But the other guy gets clever and says, yeah, then why have they introduced quotes, right? Which means, why have they stopped? There's not that many fish, so we need to stop catching so many fish. Good saying. There's so many fish in the sea. Rubbish. We've lost it. So if you've been dumped, please don't use that line anymore. It's the worst way to look at it. Then the next one. Next picture I had a look at. Okay. That's quota fishing. You only allowed a certain amount of fish. No more. Okay. A lot less. And they started putting on size-wise. Okay. I know a lot of people that go fishing have a look at a specific thing. For example, if a fish is too small, they throw it back in the water. If a fish is too big, or it's a big fish, they put it back into the water because a big fish spawn. The very small ones have got to have a chance to live because there's lots of them, and the medium-sized ones you can keep. The big fish spawn a lot more. They've lived through it. They are going to survive quite easily. The middle fish are not going to survive as well as the big fish. They've been there for years. Right, that's a nice way of looking at it. That's just what one fisherman told me, and I thought that was very nice to look at. At least he's keeping the big breeding fish alone and keeping the smaller ones, right? And then, of course, as I said, you get your graceful and beautiful whales. Look how nice it looks. Can you imagine riding on the ocean and seeing that happen right in front of you? Okay, I've seen it once where it's landed on top of the ship, but that's bad, right? It's a beautiful, stunning animal. And then the last thing I mentioned to you was Cape Town, and there it is. Okay, that is the marine resource that we're looking at. We protect that region. Look how beautiful it is. Okay, that is a stunning, stunning area. If you have a chance one day, you must go and have a look at it if you haven't already. Right, so that is a place that we look after in Cape Town already. Now, the next one, okay, droughts. Droughts is a problem. Now you're going to say to me, but how do we stop droughts? There is a way. Promise you there's a way to stop droughts, because we start using all the water and then we leave nothing left. Okay, there's droughts. We need to stop that. Contaminating from industries and mining. So in other words, when these mines are doing specific things, all their waste products, they look left and right, no one's watching, we just throw it in the river there. Okay, so much easier, so cheap. That's bad. It's destroying our rivers, killing our fish. Okay, we've got nothing. All that water that we drink must come from somewhere. That little river will run into the Vol Dam, and we get our water from there. That's not very nice. Okay, so you've got to have a look at it. The Vol Dam is getting destroyed by industries, even though they're pumping it into a different little dam. Okay, it could go through to the Vol Dam. That's a bad sign. Okay, and then of course sewage contamination. Okay, that goes into the sea, that goes into our rivers. Okay, you've got to understand that sewage is bad for us. Okay, we can get E. coli, we can get diseases, we can get a lot of bad things just by throwing sewage into water. A lot of people use drinking water. Sewage is very bad. Okay, so sewage is one of the worst things. So let's have a look at it. You know me, as I said, pictures all the time. How nice is that? Can you imagine living there? Okay, that's just a little river running through and no one cares. They do whatever they need to in that river. They don't care. They wash, they clean, they do whatever. Can you imagine staying in a little river like that, right? And you just want some water to wash your car. Let's just say to wash your car. And some person is going to the toilet on the top of the river, right? While you're grabbing that water. I'm not sticking my hands in that water. That's disgusting. Am I right, Ty?
Yeah, this totally looks like a place I would love to go on vacation to.
Exactly. It's terrible. Okay, so that is the first thing. Second of all, droughts. Okay, we can cause droughts. Okay, there it is. We use too much water, the animal starts dying. That's why I put that picture in, because you can see the animals lying there. They've died. It's not very nice, right? So we can stop this, and I'm going to explain to you in a few minutes how. Then, the next one is, have a look at that, your mines and your bad things that is just in the water there. They just dump all that stuff in that water. You'll see a lot of places where there was a lot of mine dumps, there's water areas. And you don't see many things in there, right? You don't see birds flying there or anything because the birds will only go where there's fish, where there's food. Okay? So these things are not going to survive. The birds aren't going to go there because there's no fish. And why are there no fish? Because things have been dumped in there. Okay, so just think about it like that. That's very bad. And then the last picture, if I'm not mistaken, there it is. Look how disgusting that looks. Okay, that's sewage and rubbish all over the water, where the water used to run, and it's just manky and disgusting and terrible. Okay, that's another picture. This is bad things. This is what we as humans do to our water. Okay, now, I said to you there's ways to stop this. Okay, first of all, cloud seeding. Cloud seeding. Now, what is cloud seeding? It's a cloud and seeding. Think about it. Seeding is what you throw in the ground to create new plants. So seeding, create new plants. So we need to make new clouds. So that's quite a nice way of looking at it. We're going to make clouds. Now, I'm going to explain that in a few minutes because we actually can do this. That's quite cool. The next thing, fines for pollution. We need to hit it where it hurts. The more it hurts, the better, the less they'll do. Okay? So in their pockets, where it costs a lot of money to do it, we hit them there. Pollution, more money. You need to pay for it. It's very simple. That's how I think of it. My earth, I need to keep it clean. That's how I feel. The next one, clean up waste water places. So if there is a bad water supply, we need to go as people and friends and everybody together, maybe as a community, and go and clean up that area. Okay, I know it's very difficult at times to get everybody together, but it starts with one person. Grab a couple of mates and let's just go pick up the papers around there. It takes, let's say, a day. And just go and enjoy it and have fun. Play games and pick up papers you can get the most. Just by looking after things, you will make sure that everything stays there for a longer period of time. And if you see it, somebody else will see you doing it and they will join in. That's how it normally works, which is quite cool. The next one is build more sewage farms. That is the reason that we keep putting sewage all over the place. If we build sewage farms, we're going to get rid of the waste products. Now, it's not very nice to think about it, but it's the best way to get rid of it. Sewage, instead of throwing it in the river, let's put it into a farm where we can control the bacteria and actually get rid of it and use the water again. I know that sounds horrible, but we can. It actually is quite fresh. It's actually clean, that water that comes out. It's very clean after that stuff has happened. So, let's have a look at it. First one, make them pay. As I said, the more money, the better. Okay? Next one. Okay? That is a sewage farm. Okay? Sewage farms, if you look at it very carefully, they send all this sewage into a big pan type of thing. It's nice and deep. All the bacteria is in there, and that bacteria starts breaking down all the hazardous chemicals and everything that's inside sewage, and we can sort it out. Okay? That is what we do, and it's the best way to do it. And then the last thing I've put on here, that's quite a nice thing to look at, is cloud seeding. Now, what actually happens, and I want you to look at this very carefully, because it's quite cool. Sorry, I'm going to go for the plain colors. No, pink. Okay, now, we've got this little cloud over here. Okay, this little cloud. It's not very big. It's a nice cloud, and yes, it might rain. No, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It doesn't matter. What we do is we send an aeroplane up with this chemical. Okay, it's silver iodide. That's it, silver iodide. Now that silver iodide is quite cool. It makes what's it called? It makes things change into ice. Okay, so if you look at it, this part here, this level here, this red line. Okay, that red line tells you the difference between freezing point up in the air or watering point. Okay, so if you have a look at it, there's only a little bit of ice here, right? We start throwing in this silver iodide over here. Okay, we start throwing it in, and what that does is it starts creating crystals or these pieces of ice, right? And if you have a look at it, this is the same cloud a few minutes later or a few hours later, right? Look how many icings there are. But now those icings, they start coming along and they start getting nice and big. Right? And if they get nice and big, it means they get too heavy to stay up there. And I'm not talking about hail. Yes, it might be hail in the beginning, but the minute it gets too big, it starts dropping. And the minute it drops under the freezing rate, what does it do? It starts becoming water. It starts melting. So just by throwing this silver iodide, we are making clouds. So where there's drought, what do? We go make clouds. We can stop drought. Okay? There is a way to do it. It's very difficult, but there is a way. So when they're talking about this in your paper, how are we going to stop this? How are we going to do that? Just remember cloud seeding. Okay? Write it down. It's very nice. Go look on the internet. It's a magnificent way of looking at things. Right. So that's a nice one. I thought you guys might enjoy that. Right? The next one, industrial effluent or hazardous chemicals not dumped properly. Here's the next thing. Now we're having a look at waste. Okay? You know these waste products. We're having a look at industries that are just dumping their things. Instead of dumping it, look at a way to do it. Okay? Look at a way to dump things. Next one, landfill sites. You're not going to know what a landfill site is. You know when these trucks that come riding in once a week and you got your green little dustbins and they throw it in there and then they take all your rubbish away, right? They got to go to a site. And those sites create a landfill site, right? It's where all the rubbish and your plastic bags and all your rubbish that you don't want gets chucked away. That's not very nice. The next one is e-waste. E-waste is electricity. So if you have a look at your computers and that is e-waste, right? There it is, e-waste. So let's have a look. What we have, it's always nice to see what I'm talking about. Look at that. That is a landfill site. It's just got plastic bags and papers and rubbish. It's horrible, right? Then you get the next one, which is e-waste, okay? Electricity waste. So it is your computers. They just throw it away. Okay, rather recycle. You can recycle things like this, right? If you have a look at it there, that is toxic waste we need to get rid of. Toxic waste. Look, we get rid of that, life is so much better, right? So, let's carry on. It's always nice. How are we going to do it? Recycle. Okay, you need to recycle. Recycling is the best way to get rid of things. You recycle everything. Everything is perfect. Nuclear waste recycling, they can do it. It's not that they can't. The problem is it costs a lot of money to do it. A lot of money to recycle nuclear waste. If we have a look at it, recycling is the best thing out. Now, I'm sure if I remember, it's not there yet. And if I have a look at it, recycling of nuclear waste costs a lot of money. So if we decrease the amount it costs, maybe it'll be better, right? Which is cool. Now, if I go back onto the next slide, as I was saying, land use. Okay, I've put on here, overpopulation. We know about overpopulation. We've spoken about it lots of times. Deforestation, cutting down the forest to find out where we're going to stay. Okay, that's not nice. Destruction of the habitat and greed. Now, just look at this. Just try and understand this. Overpopulation, right? We've got too many people, right? So what do? We go cut down trees or a place where we can stay, which is deforestation, right? We start killing all these animals that stay in that area, okay? So there we go, we're destroying a habitat. And then greed. Just think about greed, okay? You get a 4-bedroom house. How many people should stay there, Ta?
4 people.
4 people, very nice. How many people have you heard where it's 2 people and they've got an 8-bedroom house?
Yes, which is just doesn't make sense.
Greed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then they've got this huge property, and they just overpopulate. There's not enough people on that area. Instead of having this huge property with so much space that you're not going to use, get more people in there. They can stop cutting down our forests. There's more than enough. Just look where you can put things. Everything can fit. Just try. It's very easy. Start building up. Okay? We're starting to do it, so we're starting to do flats and all of that. We're going up instead of across now, right? Which is a good thing. It's a good thing, right? And if I have a look at it, okay, there it is. We just overpopulating, go earth, go, we can hold on to that. Look how we're destroying the habitat, right? He's only got that small little thing, right? That's quite cool. That I thought was brilliant. I'm sure you've heard the stories about the stork, right? The stork delivers babies, too many means overpopulation. Okay, so, and the last thing is deforestation. Well, what I've got to do, there's not much time left, so I hope I've helped you out, and I'm sure I'll see you next year, and I want you guys to actually study hard, and I'll speak to you soon. Ta,
all right, so mindset is make sure you get on the page, keep using the page. I'm going to be posting up all the slides from today, so make sure you check that out. It's going to be in an album called Grade 11 Life Science Sustainable Biodiversity, and this is where I then say, as Ty, I want to say thank you for joining us throughout the year, and guys, keep on using the page. It is for you, and that's where I, as Ty, sign off and say thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
that come along and grab this fish. And they eat lots of fish, and they get more DDT. So what happens? The birds start dying. Okay, so that is what we're talking about here. The birds start dying because it's unhealthy for them. Okay, so do you understand where I'm coming from? When we're talking about health, it's very important to look after our world because we need it. We need to stay big and strong and solid, right? The next thing, freedom. Now, you're going to think freedom. That is quite strange, right? Now, freedom in my eyes, I mean, this is the best way I can say it, is that every single day I get up, I go to work, or you get up and go to school, and your mom gets up and your dad gets up, and they all go to work, and it's a hustle and bustle, and let's get to the big world and do all this work and go crazy. And it's a lot of straining on your body, right? Because you're working very hard. And that is why you needed a holiday, because you were working so hard at school. I'm hoping, hey Ta, you agree with me there? They're working so hard that they actually need a break.
You can have a break during December. For me personally, I'll just like to work through the whole process and just make sure that
some of them are not lacquer upstairs. Some people are not lacquer upstairs. I need a break, Ta. So what actually happens is, that's why we have school holidays. Yes, you have to work, but it's a little bit easygoing. You can wake up a little bit later. But now, this freedom, just think about it. Staying at home and doing your work there, or going out to the beach, or going out into the wilderness, into the Kruger National Park. How nice is that? You feel free, you feel relaxed, you enjoy nature. That's the first thing. So we need to protect it because we know best. Okay? Second of all, it's maintaining of life. Okay? Without this earth, we cannot survive. So if we look after earth, earth looks after us. It's a give and take. Okay? So you always help each other out, always, which is the best thing possible. Okay? Second of all, health. Now, if you look at ourselves, if you live in something like filth and rubbish, and there's papers everywhere, and there's feces and sewage and stuff like that, we start getting very sick, right? Because our bodies are actually very, very sensitive, and so is everything else. Some things like for example, bacteria will go out of hand, and we'll start dying. You will hear about things called what are those called? Dead spots in the sea. Now, we spoke about dead spots last week. Well, I spoke about it. So let me just refresh your memory about a dead spot. What actually happens is our farmers, let's use farmers. It's not all farmers, but the old farmers, when they used to put pesticides on their plants and things like that, they used to destroy certain things. The one we had a look at was DDT. Now, what DDT actually does, right? It stops mosquitoes. So what they do is they put DDT on top of the water so that the mosquitoes can't breed. Right? The mosquitoes don't hatch, so that we are all right. We don't get malaria and all of that. So what they do is they put it on top of the water. The fish start taking it in. So let's say the small little animals start taking it in, but they take very little. Then the next animal takes a little bit more, and the next animal that eats that takes a little bit more. And right at the end, you get the fish egg.
And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you've had a great day so far. And you're now back, you're ready, you've got your pens and pads out, and you're ready to make some notes. I'm Ty, and I've got Lou here in with me, who's going to be taking us to today's session. How are you, Lou?
Right in yourself, Ty. You keeping well?
I'm well.
It's good to hear.
So what are we doing today?
Well, we're looking at sustainability of the environment, because we've all got to do it, I think.
We will have to, otherwise we won't have an environment to be in.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
All right, so Lou, while you make your way across to the board, Mindsetters, you know the drill by now. You need to get on the page. You know the link, www.facebook.com/Learn Extra. Talk to me. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're lost anywhere, if you need help, post on the page, because if you don't, we can't help you, because me and Lou, unfortunately, are not part of the X-Men, so we can't read your minds through the TV screen. So we need your guys' help to get on the page and chat to us. And if you have anything that you think would be cool that you'd like to add on, hey, go for it. But for now, we have a session to do, so Lou, take it away.
Thanks, Ty. Well, speak for yourself about the X-Men part.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had those skills. But
now, we're looking at sustainability of biodiversity. Now, before I start this section, you've got to understand that sustainability is very important, right? Because we need to fix things that we have destroyed, because humans have destroyed it. I'm going to say it out straight. I'm part of them. We have destroyed it. So now that's what freedom actually is, right? It's you enjoy it, you relax, you can take everything in. Now, we need that freedom, because if we don't have that freedom, everything's just, you're going to burn out. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about for freedom. Okay, and then nextly, we've got the natural beauty. Have you ever just had a look? I'm sure you have. Have you ever just had a look at these beautiful landscapes? You know, you get those amazing pictures, Tar, where you see a mountain on top of a river and it looks like it's a double mountain and the ice caps. And
it looks so beautiful.
Exactly, that's beauty. That's what we need to look after, right? And the only way that we can get that beauty is if we look after our things first and take it from there, right? So we're looking at absolute beauty first. Next thing, preserving our planet for our future generations. Now, you might at the moment say, well, it's all about me. I need to do this, and I want to get this, and I want to be rich, and I want to look after as many animals as possible, or I want to look after trees and things like that, and it's all about you. Now, one day when you have your kids, you will notice that it's all about them, okay? They need everything. It's not about me anymore, it's about my children. Right? So I need to, as a person, need to look after my planet so that my generation can actually see what the planet is about. I mean, there's a beautiful ad, I don't know if you've seen it, Tar, a beautiful ad about a man sitting around a campfire. You know the olden days, the people who sit around campfires and talk about stories and animals and that. And this guy is trying to explain to the youngsters what an elephant looks like. Have you seen that? So because we've destroyed it, we need to fix it. So this is what this section's about. And second of all, this is a section where you can do very well in your exams, right? Because you get all the marks, it's application questions, it's so easy, it's things that you know. Now we just have to put it together and do something about it. Okay, so let's give it a go. If we have a look at it, what is the sustainability, right? If you have a look at it, that is when we actually use resources so that we can survive, right? But we don't use so much that we cannot let our future generations actually use the stuff. Okay, so we need to go up into a point and no further. We need to learn to do that. We cannot be greedy, in other words, right? And if you look at nature, so all your animals and your plants and everything like that, they actually have it down to a T, right? Because they go and only use enough. They don't overuse it, because if they overuse it, they die, right? We're the only things that actually change that. Okay, so what I've done is I've put up a nice definition here for you guys. So I'm sure Ty's put it on the page. So there it is. It's nice and simple. I just put it into different words. Right, okay. So if we have a look at the next thing, okay. Why do we need to do this? Now, I sat down and thought about this quite nicely. And I got up some nice things. First of all, it's not just our planet, okay. We do not own this planet. This planet belongs to everything. Every little animal, every plant, every bacteria, every fungi, every little thing on Earth, right? The Earth belongs to that.